Hey there, we're at day number 79. I'm always glad when you come back to listen, and today we read Numbers 17 and 18, our first reading in Psalm 37, and our second reading in Luke 23. Let's turn to Numbers 17. Yesterday we heard another dramatic chapter in Israel's history, the rebellion of Korah, Dathan and Abiram. They must have been included in those who refused to go to the promised land. But then they had the gall to find fault with Moses that he didn't lead them to that land. It is also incredible that God would prove Moses' authority so dramatically, resulting in the death of the 3 conspirators and their families. Yet the people would the next day, without fear, accuse Moses of killing the Lord's people, further resulting in a plague. Numbers 17. The Lord said to Moses, "Tell the people of Israel to give you 12 walking sticks, one from the leader of each tribe. Write each man's name on his stick, and then write Aaron's name on the stick representing Levi. There will be 1 stick for each tribal leader. Take them to the tent of my presence and put them in front of the covenant box where I meet you. Then the stick of the man I have chosen will sprout. In this way I will put a stop to the constant complaining of the Israelites against you." So Moses spoke to the Israelites, and each of their leaders gave him a stick, 1 for each tribe, 12 in all, and Aaron's stick was put with them. Moses then put all the sticks in the tent in front of the Lord's covenant box. The next day, when Moses went into the tent, he saw that Aaron's stick, representing the tribe of Levi, had sprouted. It had budded, blossomed, and produced ripe almonds. Moses took all the sticks and showed them to the Israelites. They saw what had happened, and each leader took his own stick back. The Lord said to Moses, "Put Aaron's stick back in front of the covenant box. It is to be kept as a warning to the rebel Israelites that they will die unless their complaining stops." Moses did as the Lord commanded. The people of Israel said to Moses, "Then that's the end of us. If anyone who even comes near the tent must die, then we're all as good as dead." Numbers 18. The Lord said to Aaron, "You, your sons, and the Levites must suffer the consequences of any guilt connected with serving in the tent of my presence. But only you and your sons will suffer the consequences of any guilt connected with your serving in the priesthood. Bring in your relatives, the tribe of Levi, to work with you and help you while you and your sons are serving at the tent. They are to fulfill their duties to you and their responsibility for the tent, but they must not have any contact with sacred objects in the holy place or with the altar. If they do, both they and you will be put to death. They are to work with you and fulfill their responsibilities for all the service in the tent, but no unqualified person may work with you. You and your sons alone must fulfill the responsibilities for the holy place and the altar, so that my anger will not again break out against the people of Israel. I am the one who has chosen your relatives, the Levites, from among the Israelites as a gift to you. They are dedicated to me so that they can carry out their duties in the tent. But you and your sons alone shall fulfill all the responsibilities of the priesthood that concern the altar and what is in the most holy place. These things are your responsibility because I have given you the gift of the priesthood. Any unqualified person who comes near the sacred objects shall be put to death." The Lord said to Aaron, "Remember that I am giving you all the special contributions made to me that are not burned as sacrifices. I am giving them to you and your descendants as the part assigned to you forever. Of the most sacred offerings not burned on the altar, the following belong to you: the grain offerings, the sin offerings, and the repayment offerings. Everything that is presented to me as a sacred offering belongs to you and your sons. You must eat these things in a holy place, and only males may eat them. Consider them holy. In addition, any other special contributions that the Israelites present to me shall be yours. I am giving them to you, your sons, and your daughters, for all time to come. Every member of your family who is ritually clean may eat them. I am giving you all the best of the first produce which the Israelites give me each year: olive oil, wine, and grain. It all belongs to you. Every member of your family who is ritually clean may eat it. Everything in Israel that has been unconditionally dedicated to me belongs to you. Every firstborn male child or animal that the Israelites present to me belongs to you, but you must accept payment to buy back every firstborn son, and must also accept payment for every firstborn animal that is ritually unclean. Sons shall be bought back at the age of 1 month for the fixed price of 5 pieces of silver, according to the official standard. But the firstborn of cows, sheep, and goats are not to be bought back. They belong completely to me and are to be sacrificed. Throw their blood against the altar, and burn their fat as a food offering, an odor pleasing to me. The meat from them belongs to you, like the breast and the right hind leg of the special offering. I am giving to you and to your sons and to your daughters, for all time to come, all the special contributions which the Israelites present to me. This is an unbreakable covenant that I have made with you and your descendants. The Lord said to Aaron, You will not receive any property that can be inherited, and no part of the land of Israel will be assigned to you. I, the Lord, am all you need. The Lord said, I have given to the Levites every tithe that the people of Israel present to me. This is a payment for their service in taking care of the tent of my presence. The other Israelites must no longer approach the tent, and in this way bring on themselves the penalty of death. From now on, only the Levites will take care of the tent and bear the full responsibility for it. This is a permanent rule that applies also to your descendants. The Levites shall have no permanent property in Israel, because I have given to them as their possession the tithe which the Israelites present to me as a special contribution. That is why I told them that they would have no permanent property in Israel. The Lord commanded Moses to say to the Levites, When you receive from the Israelites the tithe that the Lord gives you as your possession, you must present 1/10 of it as a special contribution to the Lord. This special contribution will be considered as the equivalent of the offering which the farmer makes of new grain and new wine. In this way, you also will present the special contribution that belongs to the Lord from all the tithes which you receive from the Israelites. You are to give this special contribution for the Lord to Aaron the priest. Give it from the best that you receive. When you have presented the best part, you may keep the rest, just as the farmer keeps what is left after he makes his offering. You and your families may eat the rest anywhere, because it is your wages for your service in the tent. You will not become guilty when you eat it, as long as you have presented the best of it to the Lord. But be sure not to profane the sacred gifts of the Israelites by eating any of the gifts before the best part of it is offered. If you do, you will be put to death. We turn for the first time to Psalm 37. This is an acrostic poem and a great psalm for giving us the right perspective in our fallen world. Psalm 37. Don't be worried on account of the wicked. Don't be jealous of those who do wrong. They will soon disappear like grass that dries up. They will die like plants that wither. Trust in the Lord and do good. Live in the land and be safe. Seek your happiness in the Lord, and He will give you your heart's desire. Give yourself to the Lord. Trust in Him, and He will help you. He will make your righteousness shine like the noonday sun. Be patient and wait for the Lord to act. Don't be worried about those who prosper or those who succeed in their evil plans. Don't give in to worry or anger. It only leads to trouble. Those who trust in the Lord will possess the land, but the wicked will be driven out. Soon the wicked will disappear. You may look for them, but you won't find them. But the humble will possess the land and enjoy prosperity and peace. The wicked plot against good people and glare at them with hate. But the Lord laughs at wicked people because He knows they will soon be destroyed. The wicked draw their swords and bend their bows to kill the poor and needy, to slaughter those who do what is right. But they will be killed by their own swords, and their bows will be smashed. The little that a good person owns is worth more than the wealth of all the wicked, because the Lord will take away the strength of the wicked, but protect those who are good. The Lord takes care of those who obey Him, and the land will be theirs forever. They will not suffer when times are bad. They will have enough in time of famine. But the wicked will die. The enemies of the Lord will vanish like wildflowers. They will disappear like smoke. Let's turn for the second time to Luke 23. In the first half of this chapter, Jesus was tried by Pilate, or Pilato, as I pronounce his name, and Herod, before finally Pilato caved into pressure and sentenced Jesus to death. We'll repeat a few verses, starting at verse 36. The soldiers led Jesus away, and as they were going, they met a man from Cyrene named Simon, who was coming into the city from the country. They seized him, put the cross on him, and made him carry it behind Jesus. A large crowd of people followed him. Among them were some women who were weeping and wailing for him. Jesus turned to them and said, "Women of Jerusalem, don't cry for me, but for yourselves and your children. For the days are coming when people will say, 'How lucky are the women who never had children, who never bore babies, who never nursed them.' That will be the time when people will say to the mountains, 'Fall on us,' and to the hills, 'Hide us.' For if such things as these are done when the wood is green, what will happen when it is dry?" 2 other men, both of them criminals, were also led out to be put to death with Jesus. When they came to the place called the Skull, they crucified Jesus there and the 2 criminals, one on his right and the other on his left. Jesus said, "Forgive them, Father, for they don't know what they're doing." They divided his clothes among themselves by throwing dice. The people stood there watching while the Jewish leaders made fun of him. "He saved others. Let him save himself if he is the Messiah whom God has chosen." The soldiers also made fun of him. They came up to him and offered him cheap wine and said, "Save yourself, if you are the King of the Jews." Above him were written these words, "This is the King of the Jews." One of the criminals hanging there hurled insults at him. "Aren't you the Messiah? Save yourself and us." The other one, however, rebuked him, saying, "Don't you fear God? You received the same sentence he did. Ours, however, is only right, because we are getting what we deserve for what we did. But he has done no wrong." And he said to Jesus, "Remember me, Jesus, when you come as king." Jesus said to him, "I promise you that today you will be in paradise with me." It was about 12 o'clock when the sun stopped shining and darkness covered the whole country until 3 o'clock. And the curtain hanging in the temple was torn in two. Jesus cried out in a loud voice, "Father, in your hands I place my spirit." The army officer saw what had happened, and he praised God, saying, "Certainly, he was an innocent man." When the people who had gathered there to watch the spectacle saw what happened, they all went back home, beating their breasts in sorrow. All those who knew Jesus personally, including the women who had followed him from Galilee, stood at a distance to watch. There was a man named Joseph from Arimathea, a town in Judea. He was a good and honorable man who was waiting for the coming of the kingdom of God. Although he was a member of the council, he had not agreed with their decision and action. He went into the presence of Pilatos and asked for the body of Jesus. Then he took the body down, wrapped it in a linen sheet, and placed it in a tomb which he had dug out of solid rock and which had never been used. It was Friday, and the Sabbath was about to begin. The women who had followed Jesus from Galilee went with Joseph and saw the tomb and how Jesus' body was placed in it. Then they went back home and prepared the spices and perfumes for the body. On the Sabbath they rested, as the law commanded. Today, for our prayer together, I read Stuart Townend's hymn, "How Deep the Father's Love for Us." Let's worship God together using these words. How deep the Father's love for us, how vast beyond all measure, that he should give his only Son to make a wretch his treasure. How great the pain of searing loss, the Father turns his face away, as wounds which mar the chosen one bring many sons to glory. Behold the man upon a cross, my sin upon his shoulders. Ashamed, I hear my mocking voice call out among the scoffers. It was my sin that held him there until it was accomplished. His dying breath has brought me life. I know that it is finished. I will not boast in anything, no gifts, no power, no wisdom, but I will boast in Jesus Christ, his death and resurrection. Why should I gain from his reward? I cannot give an answer. But this I know with all my heart, his wounds have paid my ransom.